Hello and welcome to another episode of One Fall WrestleCast. Got a few things that happened this week. Vince McMahon seems to be selling like $8.4 million worth of TKO stock. Is this sour grapes, or are we easing towards a retirement? Does my man need a pay? Feel like he needs a payday because he's only got a paycheck coming in? I don't know. I don't know. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Today is the anniversary of the passing of one Eddie Guerrero. We're gonna kind of dive in on Eddie a little bit, and yeah, got a couple other things going on. War Games right around the corner. Continental Classic. I don't really know what that is, but yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this goes today, huh?
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
What's up, dude?
Nada. Just put on some Raw. I'll tell you what, Rhea's doing great stuff.
You're looking
everybody's face. It's awesome.
You're looking very dad-alicious this
Very
evening.
dad-alicious.
Yeah.
Very dad. I was in and out a lot today, so I needed the zip up pullover. It was necessary.
Yeah, I worked on the Jeep for a little bit today because I've got a broken oil filter housing cooler unit. It like notoriously fails on the JKs, and I was working on that today. And the thing that we talked about before I came in here that I can't talk about, like not allowed to talk about it at all.
Right. Okay, I got you. Understood.
Fielded lots of phone calls about that thing that I'm not supposed to be talking about, but everybody knows, but not supposed to know.
That makes sense.
It's a tangled web we weave.
I understand completely.
So
I worked and I played Spider-Man and I took Evie to basketball. That's all I did.
Nice. Well, I mean but it was a tidbit nipply.
A little bit. This pullover is phenomenal. I could put it on and like basically as long as it's not freezing, I'll be pretty okay. As long as I'm just in and out and not like hanging out shoveling snow or something. I don't know. That I might be fine for too.
Do you know what else today is? Today is friend of the show Pat Martin's birthday. So happy birthday there, Mr. Friend of the show Pat Martin.
Cheers to Pat Martin. Happy birthday, buddy.
Cheers to Pat Martin. We appreciate you, pal.
Sure do.
So, and I don't think it takes a genius to understand that we are -1. I mean, even though
are we really -1, or are we just like not +1?
I mean, tomato.
Because like theoretically, he's really never here in the first 5 minutes.
That's fair.
I don't think. I think since we stopped waiting for him, I don't think he's been here at the beginning of a podcast.
That's fair.
Remember, we used to wait for him for years.
Yeah.
We wouldn't start till like 9 p.m.
Yeah. And then, we just kind of stopped doing that. And then we started keeping score, and then we just kind of stopped doing that because
he kept showing up.
Yeah.
And then he stopped showing up entirely for like 3 months. So
yeah.
it was just like, we can't play this game if he's not actually going to be here.
Yeah. So, So that's the life that we live.
He hasn't looked. So I'm assuming Derek's not coming.
That's probably a great assumption. I sent him a text message yesterday at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And I've still yet to hear from him.
Last week he said he was turning a new leaf.
Yeah.
That was just last week. The leaf blew over again.
Yeah. I guess the leaf blew over again. You know what happens? Like leaves change with the seasons.
Yeah.
Last week he was trying to be a beautiful, colorful fall leaf. That has taken on this new life, just to get blown right off the tree again.
Now he's just a crunchy, raked up fall leaf.
Yeah, he's in somebody's hefty bag somewhere right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
At least he's in a hefty bag and not just like in a puddle of muck.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's in a hefty bag like Mickey James' belongings, but that's neither here nor there.
Wow, wait, what a callback!
Hey, man, like I just still want to know what's in the fucking bag. Like, I don't think that I'm asking too much
of what was in the bag, Mickey.
To know what's in the bag, Mickey. Like, your husband is a prominent figure in WWE now. I think you can come clean and tell us that there was nothing worth raising a stink about in that bag.
I bet her vape was in there.
Her vape?
Yeah, her vape was probably in the bag.
Oh, are you
Mickey
mocking
James
me?
Vapes?
I mean, no, I don't think
Mickey
James.
Maybe she does.
I don't. That's pretty assumptuous of you there, pal. I mean, I just don't know what would lead you to believe that.
What wrestlers do you think vape?
I mean, I'm sure there's a couple. Yeah.
Which ones? Just give me some off the top of your head. Who do you think probably? Dominic Mysterio?
Yes, Dominic Mysterio definitely vapes. I think JD McDonough probably vapes.
Absolutely. That's how your head doesn't get that big by not vaping.
Vapes. Yeah, hey, so real quick while we're talking about things that flopped, did you see Friday night on SmackDown? They showed B-Fab with the whole Bobby Lashley Street Profits thing in the back, and Ashanti the Adonis come up, right? Kind of broke it up. She's like, "Hey, what's going on here?" But Michael, that's not the thing. Michael Cole on commentary. I'm assuming that he probably got whispered to in his ear while he was in the middle. He's like, "Obviously, if you don't remember B-Fab, she was a part of that team that was prevalent on SmackDown for the last couple of years with the Ashanti the Adonis there, and then they came off screen." So I don't know if he was getting ready to like queue up Hit Road, and somebody in Gorilla was like, "Hey, let's not bury this poor girl. We're trying to get her back, put her over here. Like, let's not bury her with that Hit Row thing."
Probably. I'm assuming. Yeah, I did hear that because I saw them, and I was like, "Hey, look, they haven't been on TV in a while." And then like Michael Cole started talking about him, and then I totally shut up, and I didn't think about it, but it was like, I wonder.
Yeah. I thought SmackDown was a great fucking show this week.
It was. I only saw it piecemeal because I was busy, but I thought it was a real good show.
I watched it cover to cover, and I don't usually get to watch a show, intro to credit too often. In one sitting, and I was able to do that, and I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of things to talk about there. Hey, so I want to get your opinion on something that you shared in the group. Earthquake, John Tenta, not in the WWE Hall of Fame.
He is not, and that's a travesty. He main evented WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan. It was like WrestleMania 4 or 5 or something.
4? No. 5 was 4. No. I mean, he was in a prevalent storyline, but I don't think that they were the main event because
Macho Man, the main event, but
Macho Man was the world champion during 4 and 5.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't the main event, but maybe he was in a match with Hogan.
He was definitely in a match with Hogan because you remember they did the thing on the Brother Love show,
right?
Where he earthquaked him, and then in an attempt to get a bunch of addresses so that they could send out their shitty mailers every month, they had the kids write get well letters to Hulk Hogan. It was a whole thing. Yeah, it was a great story.
It was great. John Tenta was awesome. He was such a team player too. Like he even changed his tattoo after when they switched his gimmick.
Yeah, he was, and then he was Shark in WCW for a little while.
Right, and that's when he changed his tattoo.
Yeah. And then he was Typhoon with Tugboat. The natural disaster, the natural disasters.
Yeah,
but Tugboat wasn't Tugboat after that, was he?
No.
Maybe he was Typhoon.
He was Typhoon,
and he was Earthquake.
John Tenta was still Earthquake. Yeah.
And then don't forget, John Tenta was also Golga.
He was Golga.
in with the oddities.
With the oddities, that was short lived, but we
I
didn't
think
know that though. As kid, we didn't find out about that until
till
after that.
much later.
Yeah, much later.
I mean, he was a talented big man. Like I look back on those on some of those things. I mean, wasn't he was paired up with Bobby Heenan at one point too, wasn't he? Or was he was with Jimmy Hart.
He was with Jimmy Hart. He may have been with Bobby Heenan also at some point, but he was definitely with Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy Hart turned on Hogan too.
Yeah.
I think that was all part of that same storyline.
I do believe so.
But yeah, the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame is kind of cool. Like, he was such an important main event big man heel that his not being in the Hall of Fame, particularly at this point, he's been gone a while, and he died at 47, cancer or something.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's probably been I don't know, maybe 10 years.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, about 10 years, and also in his lengthy career, he was always prevalent. Even when he was in the oddities as an older man who was sicker, because he was a lot smaller as.
He died in 2006.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a while, but so yeah, I guess he would have been in the oddities 2000, 2001. So he died a few years. He must have already been sick. That was probably
it would have had to 2000's too late. It would have had to have been 98, 99 because that was a Vince Russo thing.
Okay, yeah. So, but he must have already kind of been, and then I guess he probably got sick after that, and that was the end of his wrestling career.
And listen, you can't forget too that he was an actual sumo wrestler at one point.
You know, when he was first, there were pictures of him balding, and when he was first brought in and was a big main event guy, he was 22 years old. He looked like he was 50, but he was 22 years old. And
I'm looking at a picture of him right now. I'm gonna try to bring it up from his actual sumo career. And it looks like he was 22. This is probably the same picture that you're talking about. Guaranteed that it is. He definitely looks like he's 50, and it says that he's 22. So I think that this is definitely the same picture here, pal. I gotta click one more button. Is that the one?
That's one of them. So it's probably the same year, but he's got a beard in WWE.
Okay, yeah.
So it's right after this because he's got a beard, but he's 22, 23 years old at that point in time. But yeah, he looks like he's 50 years old because his hair is also in the WWE picture. His hair is all wet and slicked back.
Yeah, like it tends to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, he definitely, there's a lot of those moments, big moments like the Hulk Hogan thing, and, just like Typhoon and Earthquake, the natural disasters tag team. I remember them always being a thing because my dad, when I was young, young, obviously, and my dad liked Tugboat. My dad looked like Tugboat a little bit too, kind of
a little bit
with the thing. And
a little bit.
And when he turned heel, man, my dad was so mad.
Because remember, if you remember, Tugboat was also what a terrible name, Tugboat. Right, terrible. Why would you call a man Tugboat? That was.
It was the golden era, pal. Occupational gimmicks, man.
But he wasn't a tugboat operator.
He was a sailor. But he was a sailor.
I know,
dressed like a sailor,
but he wasn't a tugboat. He was a sailor man, like Popeye. He was a sailor man.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a goddamn travesty that Earthquake is not in the WWE Hall of Fame. And hopefully they'll get this right. I mean, I just don't know, but man, he was so good with Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, he was.
Good to have a mouthpiece,
Especially a mouthpiece like Jimmy Hart. You want the mouth of the South, especially during that point in time where Jimmy Hart managed a bunch of people and would just interject a little bit. Yeah. But Tugboat could still come out and give the I'm going to smash you to, or not Tugboat. I'm going to smash you to little bits. And then, they could do, he could say whatever else. Jimmy Hart could give the meat.
That's right, baby.
Promo. Yeah,
that's right, baby.
Exactly.
Hey, speaking of mouthpieces, how about Andrade finally getting one over AEW?
I mean, I feel like they keep trying to give him one, but it just like it's because it was Alex the assistant, right?
Yeah.
Not Alex Abrahantes. It was Alex the assistant.
Yes.
Different guy. Then it was Chavo for a minute.
Yeah, like 32 seconds.
And then they stealth fired Chavo. And then it was it back to Alex? Like Alex
he did the whole Big Money Matt thing for a little while.
He was with Big Money Matt. He and Matt would talk about things in stairwells, weirdly enough.
Yeah, weirdly enough, right?
And he was always in a stairwell. And then I'm glad, like, in WWE he did best when they would let Zelina Vega talk and they would let him wrestle.
Absolutely.
So if they're gonna let CJ Perry talk and they're gonna let Andrade wrestle,
as long as CJ Perry doesn't play herself and she like attempts to play a character, I think that she'll be a good manager. But the problem that I have with this whole thing is, so Saturday night they're doing this match with Daniel Garcia, which I can't believe that we're fucking letting this guy do the Alex Wright Dick Dancer gimmick. I was hoping that was going to be a short-lived thing, and it's just not.
It's a hard dance to do sitting down because
it's but it's just not, and I don't understand why. And it's like, I know that that's your favorite person to love to hate.
Because I said he was uninteresting, so they made him dance.
so they made him a dick dancer.
Yeah,
and I just don't.
Because I said he wasn't interesting.
Like, this is
that's what fixed it.
This is the wrong approach, and that was Jericho, right? He's like, hey, listen, so Tom on One Fall WrestleCast said that you are the least interesting human on the planet. Okay. And then, so when I worked in WCW, we had this German guy. His name was Alex Wright. Okay. And he had a gimmick where he did like, some hip gyrations and and it was really edgy and it was really cool. Maybe you should try that. You should look him up.
So we did the exact same thing.
Yeah. Same thing.
It's not even like kind of interesting. It wasn't even good. It wasn't good the first time.
No,
it's not good this time.
No, it's god awful. But I tell you all that to tell you this, right? Like, that match was really weird from the standpoint of like, I don't look at either of those guys as like a baby face. Like, I think they're both pretty much heels. And then you've got CJ Perry, who we've been conditioned as a heel. And now you want to take this heel manager and you want to put him with this heel worker who's working babyface in this match. And she's out there trying to hype the crowd up. And the crowd's like, what the fuck is going on here?
I mean, it might work. It might find its place. But I don't know that. I think the problem, this goes back to the same problem with AEW, with everything else, is that like the people that know how to get themselves over do just fine. MJF does just fine. Chris Jericho has done a lot of good things. Cody did we were annoyed by him, but Cody did just fine. CM Punk got over real well. Samoa Joe's over, all that stuff. But like the guys that can't get over, there's nobody in the back about to write a storyline or a script for them to get them over. That's just not going to, that doesn't exist. That's not going to happen. So I don't think Andrade has the ability necessarily to get himself over in English. You know what I mean? Like, his wrestling is over. He's a good wrestler, but they have to bounce him around so much because they're like, and he's probably like, I want a manager. Because he thinks about, the height of his career, when the height of his career was like him as the NXT champion, was Zelina as his manager. That was such a great dynamic and it worked out so well. And it was so over that he wants that. Just he wants it transposed into AEW. Yes. And AEW doesn't have a managerial personality to get him over the same way that Zelina Vega did. No. And I think that's the problem we've run into time and time again. Will CJ Perry be that person? I don't know, especially without some direction for her. I'm willing to give it a couple more weeks to let it see where it plays out because, maybe they just need to find their footing, which is, is common in this type of thing. And maybe 2-3 weeks from now, it'll be great. or it'll fall on its face again for what, the third or fourth time.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I don't know. I would like for it to get over because I do like Andrade. I think that he's a very good wrestler, and I think that paired with a good manager, it could be very good again. I don't know that CJ Perry is that wrestler or is that manager, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed her work as Lana in the initial Rusev heel run. Like, I mean, she was good. She was a good heel manager.
Banging in the tank.
We know that she can talk, but the thing is, can she talk in her current form? So she was on. She did a podcast with Chris Van Vliet not too long ago, and I don't know, man. Like, she's pretty well spoken. I will give her that from the standpoint of, of her presentation and who she is as a human being. Is that going to translate into the wrestling world? I don't know.
Well, it did when she played a character. She plays characters very well, but they can't just put her out there as herself. Because, I don't know what
she's going to have to find some sort of motivation almost to play a character version of herself.
Right. Like just play Lana, but without the Russian accent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be stellar, actually.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was really strange, and then like that started to present itself as the match went on, that she wasn't like getting involved in the match when she had opportunities to do so, and then I was like, why? What is going on here? And then she's like egging the crowd on for the slow claps and shit. I'm like, oh, they're working fucking babyface here. Like this is like ice cream and brown gravy.
Yeah,
it's just these two things are not the same.
No,
and for me, it made me feel a little bit disconnected. Almost.
Like I said, this wasn't the best, but hopefully it's the start of something that's better than what's been currently going on.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, though, I felt like this week's episode of Collision actually kind of felt a little bit like it used to when we were lauding over it.
I only caught the end of Collision, but Dynamite wasn't bad this week. A lot of banger matches on Dynamite. That's what they really booked a good card this week. That's why.
And
the wrestling carry it.
I think that's the part that frustrates us as fans the most, is that we know they can put together good shows,
but they don't.
But they don't.
Yeah.
And they don't get me wrong, they'll sneak in like one of those famous AEW dream matches, every other week or something like that. And it gets all the marquee marks all fired up and hot and bothered, and, gets Dave over there hitting his typewriter. And good for them. And if that's what they want that show to be, and continue to be the alternative to WWE while they try to run hand in hand with them almost in Collision from a production and a storytelling kind of level.
Yeah.
They're really struggling to find an identity right now.
Well, I think they're also struggling to find an audience too. I mean, we've experienced that firsthand when we were looking to bring the families to go see a show, and they closed off all the cheap seats because they weren't selling enough tickets. And if you looked this week, all that upper bowl black.
Yep.
All in both on both shows, that upper bowl black. So I
actually got an email today reminding me that I had tickets in my cart. And I did that 2.5 weeks ago, whenever I was initially looking.
Because you put it in the cart and you're like, how much is this with fees? And you're like, good God.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you just hit the exit button.
Yeah.
You know?
Ugh.
That's how you know it's not good, whenever they send you an email reminder that there's tickets in your cart, because usually you only get 5 minutes to purchase tickets.
No, those tickets, nobody else wanted those. Those are still in the cart. There were probably 4?
Yeah, there was 4 in there. It's wild.
Hey, we saved these for you. No, you didn't. Nobody else bought them.
Wild.
Liars.
I was just sitting there hanging out, and my phone goes ba-dink. I look, and it says AEW tickets. And I was like, what? I opened it up, and I read that, and I said, what?
I still have what in my cart? That's not how Ticketmaster works.
That's not good.
It's very bad, in fact. Ooh, that's extra bad. Yeah, I just they're having a hard time. They're having a hard time finding an audience, and they're having a hard time growing. And I don't know how they're going to turn it around. I mean, this isn't a great time to try to turn it around anyway. Time of year, historically speaking, for wrestling, this isn't a great time of year. Like, once December hits, it's basically like wrestling's kind of over for the year until January. Because a bunch of wrestlers are like, I'm leaving. I'm going home for the holidays. I'll see you guys in January. We'll start some storylines for the Rumble, and that's traditionally just how wrestling is rolled. We get up to and through Survivor Series, and then it's like, I don't know what's going to happen this year in December. Last year wasn't like that, but generally this time of year, once you get to Survivor Series, it's like,
yeah, you just kind of coast through the holidays.
Yeah,
and,
it's over.
But I don't necessarily know that we're trending in that direction in either company, and I think we touched on that a little bit last week too. But when it's hard to say that WWE is gonna take their foot off the gas whenever you put the belt on Logan Paul, and then it just magically appears fucking everywhere in mainstream media. I mean,
he's all over Twitter with it too, because he's like, nah, Triple H told me not to F with the belt on, but it's okay. I still did it. It's like,
yeah, next thing you know, I'm slapping cheeks with 40 pounds of metal.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what the can you say that? I guess you can on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, he took it to the UFC fight and got a couple looks there, I mean, I made the comment that you can't buy that type of free press. And then I corrected myself and said, well, you can whenever you sign Logan Paul to a multi-year contract.
Oh, yeah, they definitely bought it. But it was money well spent, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the one thing that really gets your wheels turning a little bit. And especially with, what we're going to talk about later on with Vince. It's like, you can see the shift in the mentality from a fan's perspective, and that, while they've always done a pretty good job with their social media, I feel like their social media team has just gotten better. And then with the inclusion of short form content now, I think that they're utilizing that great.
Oh, yeah.
I love whenever I'm scrolling TikTok or Reels or whatever, right? And those WWE things pop up. Whether it's
you get little highlights, little clips, highlights. I love that stuff.
So it
reinforces and makes me remember what they've already done and what I've already watched. It's great. It's fantastic.
So I mean, they're doing a great job from those avenues, right? And then you've got something like Logan Paul carrying around this belt, who is without a doubt one of the biggest YouTube stars in the entire world.
I mean, he's top 5 subscribers for sure. Well, I don't know if it's him or his brother, but I mean, they're both probably.
I mean, they're both top 10. It's not even close. So I think from a marketing standpoint, it's the best thing they ever did was to say, hey, we're going to let you beat Rey Mysterio in Saudi Arabia for the United States Championship. And then we want you to take it everywhere.
Just wear it. It's so pretty. That's his thing too, is like, oh my God, yeah, I can be this. And that's the character he's already playing. It's just like, oh, I can just be this guy, and yeah, absolutely be that guy.
This has actually been phenomenal. His run has been phenomenal. And I know that when it was first announced, you and I bitched and moaned a little bit, but we both did say in the bitching and moaning of it all that this could be a great business transaction. I mean, that's exactly what it's turned out to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I feel like it's been really
backs it up in the ring.
Yeah, well, in the ring, I think he's been fantastic too. Because, like I said this week, last time he saved Ray's life. Not necessarily. I mean, Ray probably would have been fine, but still, Like, he caught him when Ray was about to fall on his head.
Yeah, they were both at fault.
Yeah, but
my opinion, I don't care what Stevie Richards says on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's not. It was a little. Logan Paul was out of place. Ray kind of didn't go far enough, but you know what?
I do like Stevie Richards' little YouTube thing though that he does.
I do too.
I'm into it. Oh, I don't watch it regularly, but like if something piques my interest, I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah, if he does something that I've seen and I noticed when it happened, I will watch and see his breakdown of it.
Yeah, I mean that's been good. It's been good. So, hey man, like I don't, as far as like Logan Paul and the things that he's doing, I think that it's absolutely been great, and I think that there's a lot of guys that could have that type of presence that or not Logan Paul, and I think one of those guys is LA Knight, right?
Mm-hmm.
He seems to do fairly well on social media, and I like this little segment that he had with Grayson Waller on Friday. It felt very shooty.
Yeah, well, and I feel like everything he's been doing on Fridays have been good because, clearly they can't put a title on him, but he's been doing such a good job of getting over, even in like,
in spite of everyone.
In spite of it all. Yeah.
And I guess that there's this rumor going around that he's got a bunch of heat backstage because he's got a shitty attitude, and I think that he's a disruptor, right? Because he's a little bit older, and he's not just happy to be there. Like he's there to make an impact and to create a legacy for himself, and I think that him having a little bit of heat backstage, he probably does business a little bit differently than everybody else. He's probably not a yes man. He's probably very much, what's in this for me? Yes, I will go
very
out.
Much the squeaky wheel.
Yeah. He can definitely go out there and work a work rate match with Grayson Waller and give Grayson Waller all sorts of opportunities to look great. And still talk shit and still get the W and get over. But he gave something back too, so he's definitely, I don't feel that he's selfish in the ring, but he's probably definitely, like you said, a squeaky wheel.
Yeah. I don't know that necessarily like he's got heat probably with top brass. I think he's probably got heat with the yes men backstage with the guys that just do what they're told. There's probably, it's probably a little bit of animosity in the locker room, but I mean, that's always been the case. You know what I mean? Like that's always been, there are guys to this day that hate Triple H with a fiery passion because of he was that way.
Yep. He was a squeaky wheel.
Same thing with Shawn Michaels, same thing, tons of guys had that. So he's just another guy on a long list of guys who got heat backstage because they wouldn't take no for an answer and were like, I'm getting over regardless of what anybody else back here says or wants.
Absolutely. And I mean, I would imagine that if that is the case, he's probably very unapologetic in doing so.
No, he probably doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Nor should he.
No, and he absolutely should. No fucks given as far as I'm concerned.
Otherwise, he'd be out there having 2-minute matches with Akira Tozawa as his tag partner.
That's very fair. That's very fair. So I want to pivot real quick. Did you see Bruce Pritchard with the tweet and delete this weekend?
I did not. It must have happened while I was busy.
So everybody got all fired up over this. And so I guess like he tweeted a picture of a gold watch and then immediately deleted it. And everybody was like, oh my God, Bruce Pritchard's retired. And he got his WWE retirement gold watch thing, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, man, like, I didn't mean to send a tweet. I was trying to send a text message, which really doesn't make sense. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess. But he was quoted. He was quoted as saying, I can't believe that this is a fucking story.
What did is he leaving or is he just does he just have
No,
a
just
watch?
his tweet and delete and the fan speculation behind the fact.
I mean, that's the internet wrestling community as a whole, though. That's just how that goes. Like, I mean, if Bruce Pritchard were to retire, I would not at all be shocked.
Nah.
That seems like a thing that's coming, and it's maybe coming at the end of the year. So maybe that is what that watch is. Maybe he got his watch and he's got, hey man, as of December 31st, or maybe even he put it in and said, hey, you know, Vince is kind of out, and I know that's what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But you know, I was a Vince guy, and you know, maybe it's time for me to move on and go home. He's of retirement age. He's got to be in his late 60s.
I think he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and he's still got the podcast to fall back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's not like he's not doing anything, but I don't know. I just thought that it was funny that he was like, I can't believe this is a story.
Yeah. I mean, it was a little bit of a slow week.
Yeah, but we got some we got some picker uppers here in the last few hours. One of which is I'm not flinching. I can't. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you know it's me. That's the same attitude The Rock had when he was climbing the ladder. I don't care who it is. If that happens to be The Rock, a wonderful superstar like LA Knight or a stellar performer like Sami Zayn, line them up and I'm going to do absolutely everything I can to outrun them. Cody Rhodes via Busted Open Radio this morning talking about his spot at WrestleMania 40.
I like that Cody does the podcasts that are not necessarily WWE affiliated at all. Like Busted Open Radio clearly is not like a WWE. Not I don't want to say it's not WWE friendly.
No, but it's also mainstream mainstream sports media. So like that's one of those things that I'm sure WWE PR is setting up. Because I mean Edge has been on that show a few times. Right. You know, Cody goes back to his AEW days being on that show, even whenever he was, you know, the touring the world in the independent circuit. He had been on Busted Open a few times. You know, so there's a prior relationship there, but I do enjoy that when WWE does let those types of things happen, especially on a platform like Busted Open, which is very behind the curtain-esque. You know, and they talk about business pieces as much as story and stuff like that.
That's really more what I meant, about it being not necessarily a WWE centric type of podcast.
Yeah. And but I mean, to me, from the outside looking in, he's the only clear guy for WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they leave the heavyweight championship on Rollins. I mean, Rollins was really the only other top tier guy in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's the only other top guy. There's three guys in WWE right now. And two of them are wearing titles already.
Yeah.
So,
you know, and I think that by leading LA Knight to slaughter here a couple of weeks ago, I think we really got perspective on where he's at. You know, and Sammy's not there yet. And Sammy's definitely, if Sammy does get a world title run, it's gonna be not.
He's not beating Roman for it.
He's not beating Roman for it now.
No, I mean, he might beat Cody for it. I don't think that's unbelievable necessarily. My thought too, I think LA Knight is more. I think LA Knight will probably be the one to beat Logan Paul. If I'm being honest.
No, I think that would be a fun little feud.
Probably at WrestleMania, because we're not going to see Logan Paul till then. So I would think at WrestleMania we're going to see Logan Paul get beat by LA Knight for the U.S. Championship. And I think that'll be fine. And then, you know, if you know, next year, if he's in line for a heavyweight title run or you know, even, you know, maybe he beats whomever beats Cody or something like that further down the line, you know, we'll see that happen then. But, you know, I think that's probably where this is going to end up. We're going to see LA Knight continue to float around the top and get him into a spot where because that's a marquee matchup. LA Knight versus Logan Paul. That's a marquee matchup.
Absolutely.
And I think sells tickets, and that's what they want for WrestleMania, stuff like that. So,
and that will unfold on social media also.
Absolutely.
You know, and just as much as it will in the ring, because like we just said, those guys do a great job using social media. So that's one of those things. So I think that's really a good spot for him. But I don't look at WrestleMania 40 main event and all the work, all the equity that's been put into Cody Rhodes from a positioning standpoint, that it's not him and Roman at WrestleMania. There's 0% chance in my eyes that it's anybody but them.
I mean, I don't think it can be at this point. You know what I mean? I really think that's the money. That's the marquee matchup. I don't think you can deviate from that at this point. It just is what it is. I mean, I don't know that you want Cody to go ahead and win the Rumble again, though. I think that's.
I mean, if he's, I figure you have to have whoever wins the Rumble challenge Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and then you have to have. I mean, he can win the Elimination Chamber, I guess, because that's the other one, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that they do for whoever doesn't get picked in the.
Yeah, but and then you have Cody be in the ring with, and you have somebody screw Cody out of winning the Rumble or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, excuse me. WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sitch, formerly known as Sunny, will be sentenced on November 27th, 2023. And in total, she is facing a little over 25 years max in prison. The charges are 1 count of DUI causing death, DUI manslaughter, a felony in the 3rd degree, 1 count of causing death while operating a vehicle with a suspended or revoked driver's license, a felony in the 3rd degree, 4 counts of DUI causing injury to a person, and 3 counts of DUI in the 3rd degree while causing damage to someone's personal property. These charges are in relation to the March 2022 death of 75-year-old Julian Lassiter of Naples during an early morning afternoon traffic incident in Ormond Beach, Florida. Sitch's sentence was slated for 9 a.m. that day. She's not having too many sunny days here, is she?
She's been on a downward spiral for a long time, but man, she's in trouble. It sucks because that really is like that's the of Sunny.
Like, you want to talk about a downward spiral into the fucking depths of hell.
The only way that it gets worse is if she died.
No, I don't listen. With all due respect, I don't think that that's worse.
No, you're probably right.
I really don't.
Nah, you're right.
I don't.
Because if she dies, then you can be like, oh,
yeah.
You have the memorial and all that stuff. Now it's like, put her
Yeah,
in prison, and we forget about her entirely. There's no memorial. There's no nothing.
so I don't know. Like, I just don't. I don't feel bad, and like it's just. Did Candido like die and really fuck her up that bad?
It must have. I don't know, man. Were they like? I thought that was over.
Yeah, but they were on a downward spiral together, my man.
I mean, they were, but separately.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's sad. It's sad to see our childhood just in disarray,
I mean, I was never the biggest Sunny fan. I feel like she was sort of a little bit before my time.
Nah.
I feel like
definitely wasn't before our time, Bob.
No, I mean it wasn't, but I feel like Sable and Jackie were sort of the like upgrade from that. I don't know. She was kind of still around at that point.
No, we could. That's not. So, I don't know. We'll definitely revisit this after the sentencing. I imagine because it's probably
it's what a
waste.
What a waste. Yeah, what a waste. It seemed all the potential got over everywhere, and just.
So
Not even falling into obscurity, falling into like straight up just problems.
It's crazy, man. Like just right down just flushing the proverbial toilet.
Yeah, it doesn't like really doesn't get because the incident that led to her sentencing was like one of like many that's just like the straw that broke the camel's back. There were many incidents.
Like this is Jeff Hardy in female form, except this is so much worse because she fucking killed a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
no, this is Jeff Hardy amped up. This is
less occurrences, but far more damage.
So every time there was something bad, it was the other thing too is like Jeff Hardy clearly didn't get away with anything. How much did she not get away with? Because like she probably got away with stuff. Just nobody had died, and they were like, just go home. You know what I mean? But like nobody's gonna let Jeff Hardy off the hook.
No, 100%. I never really fucking thought about it that way.
Yeah, like what has she gotten away with? Because that's really what this is. It's not a like it's somebody who's just like she's got away with so much that she just thought that she was untouchable as far as doing stuff like this, because this isn't she was arrested multiple times for DUI and then it just went away. And
how many times did she get stopped without consequence too?
Right, exactly. Oh my God, Sonny, I loved you when I was a kid. Let me follow you home. Be safe. Stuff like that.
Show you my titties.
Exactly. Stuff like that. How many times did she get away? How many times did she get let off without incident?
For fuck's sake, what is wrong with me?
I mean,
hey, listen, I got a funny story for you.
Okay, I'm here for it.
So, Dave Meltzer, okay, notorious dirt sheet provocateur, right? The crown jewel of dirt sheet journalism, if you will, baby.
DAV.
Okay. He refuted somebody's tweet today.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he refuted what somebody said about him today.
Oh, what did somebody say?
It's crazy to me that he could give no fucks about anything that anybody ever says about him. He just says, that's their opinion. Fuck them. Right? But he chooses this hill to die on and just stick up. I just don't understand it.
I mean, he occasionally chooses a hill to die on.
Yeah, but this is a really bad hill to die on.
Okay.
So, King of the White Women on Twix.
Oh, God. Okay.
Said, I can refute at Dave Meltzer's report on Eva Marie to AEW. Per my insider, Tony Khan hasn't even harbored a single thought of bringing Eva Marie to AEW, and Tony Khan doesn't see Eva Marie as someone who could reignite the women's division.
That is a hill to die on. Holy shit.
So Dave replies this thingy and said, I never said anything close to this.
Okay. But didn't he?
I don't know that.
I mean, I don't care either way.
I don't care either, right? I didn't care about Dave or Eva Marie. I mean, really, we brought her back fucking like 8 months ago, and it didn't.
Hey, look, it got Dewdrop over. She's a champion now, and she's got a name back.
Piper Niven,
and she's Piper Niven now,
and she's part of the fucking best women's tag team in this millennium.
It's so entertaining.
It's awesome.
I'm so glad they stuck it out because she had a little knee injury that kept her out a few weeks.
Yeah.
And Chelsea Green was just like, no. Still the champ, baby.
Yep. It's been great. She's carried those belts.
Chelsea Green is another example. We were talking about people who get over regardless. Chelsea Green is like, I'm getting over. There is no stopping my over getting.
No.
It's not I don't care what you do to me.
No, she's been great.
She's been, whether she gets 10 seconds or 5 minutes, she's been phenomenal.
I really wish Derek was here to have to eat crow on this subject because he said, nobody cares about Chelsea Green. She's going to come out and she's going to job. It's not going to move the needle for me.
I mean, she does job some, but she's
Yeah.
also got a belt, so
and she is moving the needle.
She definitely is moving the needle.
So Derek can suck a fat fuck.
She also has been using social media well.
Shocking. She just spent the last 3 years with Cardano on the Indies, getting herself over, taking care of herself, you know. Listen, I just thought it was funny. Like, I don't ever see Dave fucking stand up for himself on somebody that I have no idea who they are. It's like, why do we waste our time fucking sticking up for these marks? And what's worse is this guy's like, oh, I've got an insider. Okay.
Okay.
Well, you got a friend of the program? Huh?
Friend of the show?
Yeah, we got a friend of the show.
We got lots of friends of the show.
We've got a big friend of the show, and it's his goddamn birthday. Happy birthday, BP.
Happy birthday, Pat.
Fucking love it. Hey,
I
man,
hope he's
so
having a great birthday. I hope he's got I hope he's getting everything he wants for his birthday. I don't know what that is.
He's been hanging out with the Larrys all day. He's loving life.
Great. Good for him.
So
awesome.
Hey, happy but you know, today's a sad day though, too. Today's the day that Eddie Guerrero passed away. And
18 years, right? I think I saw that.
Something like 18 years, yep. It's kind of crazy, you know, and you look at today's landscape and how much respect Eddie Guerrero gets to this day. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, I saw the Three Amigos on 2 different shows on the same night.
If Dom has a match tonight, he's gonna be the Viva la Raza. Like it's gonna happen. I don't know if Dom. I mean, Dom probably has a match tonight.
You know, and Dom definitely, you know, favors Eddie's work style, and I think to like kind of get out of the shadow of the way that his dad works. You know, he kind of works a little bit more like Eddie, and he's fun to watch. I don't give a fuck what Derek has to say, but
Dominic's great, and I think that he is now at a point where they did a lot of work to sort of make sure that he wasn't just the flash in the pan, you know, son and dad kind of thing. You know, he's come into his own at this point.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, nobody solicits a bigger crowd reaction than Dominic fucking Mysterio. Like nobody.
That's apparently some of the most shocking things when like other people or like guests or whatever go to WWE and like have to be in the ring when Dom Mysterio is also in the ring because they thought they piped those boos in, but it's actually what happened. It's like, Jesus, it's loud.
I can't wait until Raw comes to town just simply so that I can go for that satisfaction.
I just want to boo Dominic so hard.
Like that to me is worth the price of admission.
Booing Dominic and just
like just being in there. Yeah. Because I mean, we're like 8 months into this thing. And it just continues to get more and more aggressive.
Rhea has to scream so loud to get heard over what's going on.
It's so phenomenal. Good. It's phenomenal.
You just don't see reactions like this anymore. No. I don't know that we saw them like I don't know that we even saw them in the 90s necessarily. You know what I mean? Like these are like straight up like people think wrestling's real type of reactions. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what these are. These are kayfabe.
He turned his back on his daddy. Exactly. We don't like him.
These are those level of anger reactions.
Oh, I love that episode of South Park though.
Turned his back on his daddy. I still love South Park. I still watch it pretty religiously.
Yeah, like it's always on. Like anytime I'm in a hotel, it's always on.
It's been on for 30 years, buddy. We like there's so much. There's like 26 times 30 episodes. The only thing that has more episodes is like The Simpsons, which I also still really like.
They're in the news this week. I guess that Matt Groening's gonna do away with Homer choking Bart because times have changed.
Oh, they did that a long time ago. Had he not said anything about it, they asked him about it. But had he not said anything about it, nobody would have noticed because he hasn't done it in a decade.
I don't watch.
I watch anymore. The Simpsons. I still watch The Simpsons. So that's
what I watch.
I mean, besides wrestling or wrestling?
I watched Bailey's booty walk down the aisle and get into the ring on Friday Night SmackDown in those red leather pants.
She almost caused an international incident in Saudi Arabia. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, Jesus,
We saying Bailey's come into her own here in her mid-30s.
Good Lord. Here's the funniest part about that, right? So she's walking down to the ring. I've enjoyed my chocolate cake for the evening, and I'm laying on the couch in the man cave watching SmackDown, and she comes walking down the ring. I'm like, good God, she looks like $1 million. Said it audibly out loud. And then I open my phone and I start scrolling, and there's a thing, and I sent it in the group. It was just a picture of her butt.
I saw that.
And I don't remember what the caption was, but it was just really funny because I watched it on Saturday. But it was really funny because I had just said that out loud, and then like 2 thumb swipes, and there it was. What do you think about damage control in its new form?
I think they're going to turn on Bailey, or Bailey's going to turn on them. And I think this is the way to get Bailey out of there, because they don't need her anymore, but they probably want to put Bailey in a spot where she's challenging somebody for a world title at WrestleMania. So having her be the leader of a faction doesn't make sense. And they can slot in Asuka. They can, and I think that makes more sense, especially with Kairi Sane. And you can keep Dakota Kai in there too. She's still working on. Her knee is still fucked up. I don't think she's cleared to wrestle. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's really just a matter of them pulling her out of the faction, but keeping the faction going because they want to have. Clearly Io and Kairi Sane and Asuka are friends, and they probably want to travel together. And I think that Io and they're like they want to travel together, but they're going to want Bailey to be their star, and they're going to want to pull her out and have her be sort of a solo. And I think Io particularly is not a heel, and this is sort of a heel group. So I think that maybe they're going to keep Bailey heel and turn everybody else babyface. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I never really thought about it that way. I kind of just always assumed that something was going to happen with Bailey, but I don't know. Like I thought that beforehand, but then when you add Kairi Sane, it's like, okay, like this is definitely going to happen. They're going to turn on Bailey. And then you add Asuka to the group, and it's like, oh, they're going to turn on Bailey. But
what if Bailey turns on them?
Yeah, but then that's an awful lot of strong heel personalities to turn babyface.
What if they turn on her because Bailey's too over the top? She's like beating somebody down and just like they're like, it's enough. She's had enough. And then like, or what if Bailey just turns on one of them? What if Bailey like, what if she turns on Kairi? Kairi.
I mean, that would make sense, right? Like,
yeah,
that would have to make sense. So I don't know, man, but like I'm interested to see what happens with War Games, because we both feel like she's going to be pulled out of there at some point. We just don't know how it's going to get there. But now we've got this War Games thing set up, and I think that it's really interesting. I kind of got this vibe from it that, the way that it's structured, it's going to really be a vehicle to get some of these lesser known younger women over that are involved in this, like a Kairi Sane or an Io Sky. While Io is the champion, right? Like, does she have that presence of a Charlotte Flair? Well,
Io's been in every War Games that's happened in WWE thus far.
Yeah,
every one of them she's been a part of.
We're better for it.
Oh yeah, at no point. Every point in every War Game she was in was like she had a huge moment, and it was just phenomenal. And I think that I mean I expect it this year too. It's going to happen again. I expect nothing less at this point, and I'll be disappointed if it doesn't, and I'll cheer when it does. And I think that's really kind of the beauty of wrestling is that that's what we're going for.
I think that it's really interesting that the rumor mill is circulating around this War Game women's match. And Becky Lynch is supposed to be the fifth woman to team with Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair. I mean, and we're led to believe that there's still plenty of personal dislike between Becky and Charlotte. How's that going to work?
I mean, they might really want to tap that too for remember, we're approaching WrestleMania season, and that's a big because we've not seen Becky and Charlotte for a long time at this point.
It's been a couple years.
Not only have we not seen it, they haven't seen each other. They haven't been in the same building, really, if you think about it.
Not really.
It's like, think about how small the women's division is, or it particularly was at the time. And, you know, it still is smaller. They've not crossed paths in years. And they've both remained at the absolute top. So it's really like, it's hard to be on top and not see the other top one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, and I mean that's well documented, the feeling between the two of them, right?
Sure.
Like,
but again, you can't do that forever. It's particularly within the same company. Like,
and I got to feel like they're both in a position where they understand that their role is changing in the division, right? Mm-hmm. That they're becoming less and less of that crutch to lean on to make the division go. And I feel like they both see it. And maybe they're still trying to hold on a little bit, but maybe they're kind of letting go and helping get some things over. Because, I mean, Charlotte's doing things, working babyface all this time.
Yeah.
And working with, you know, a little bit of everybody. Like, she put Shotzi over, you know, she didn't like Luke, but she's like been giving Shotzi the rub and like all of these things. I mean, you know, and then Becky with the NXT championship, Tegan Nox and Zoe Stark, and, you know, maybe that's they're both falling into that role to help continue to grow the division. I don't know.
I think they're both also falling into, I don't want to call it the twilight of their career, because that's probably not fair. Like, they've still both got good years left in them. But they're sort of starting to want, they don't necessarily need, like, they're cemented top people, right? They don't need to like claw their way back up, you know? And I feel like they clawed up together, right? But now they're established. Like, there is no need to claw them. You could remove them from the picture and pluck them back in at any point in time, and it's top tier stuff. They could be at the top of the card. Nobody questions it. Either one of them.
That's fair.
It makes 100% sense. So neither of them are scratching and clawing their way. They're there. They've made it. They've both made it to the top. There's nowhere else to go. They sit there at the top. There's no elevator down. That's where it is. And at this point, you know, maybe they've buried the hatchet. We don't know about that. I would imagine they have. You know what I mean? At this point, I think that some time has passed. I'm not saying they're the best of friends, but I could imagine that they understood that the time was coming where they needed to chill out and not hate each other and work together again. And that time's probably here. And you know what, though? If it turns out to be another WrestleMania match, I think it'll be great. It's something we haven't seen in a while. And, you know.
And it doesn't even need to have a title to be meaningful, I think.
No, not at all. And no, I don't think it will either. Yeah. I think that's that's sort of the beauty of it, is I don't think we're getting any major title changes until WrestleMania from here on out.
You don't think Seth's gonna lose the belt at one of those point in time here, one of these events coming up, take some time off to get into WrestleMania? Maybe he loses the belt here coming up, and then he wins the Royal Rumble and challenges whoever beat him for the belt, and he gets a little bit of time off, get some time to feel better and not be hurting.
No, I don't think so. Probably not this year. I mean, time off is one thing. Like, we may not see him wrestle every week, but I don't know that he's gonna not. I don't know that he's gonna just go away and not be the champ. I think him particularly. No, he's gonna continue to be. This is his job. This is what he does. He's just gonna do it. Him especially. I don't think that we don't see that at all. If you're
no time away for Mr. Rollins, huh?
No, I don't. I couldn't. Of all people, I don't think he's the guy to see go away. Him and Cody, I think, are going to be full timers. Between now and WrestleMania, I don't see them taking a break. Maybe a week here or there, but nothing significant. And I think the week if they take a week, I think they'll be in a pre-tape something.
That's a possibility, but I mean, they're running the house shows too, man. Like,
yeah.
Them guys are running hard.
Oh, I know. It's not.
So.
I mean, they might take a break from house shows, but even that, I don't think is going to be too diminished.
So we kind of went down a rabbit hole here. We started to talk about Eddie Guerrero, and somehow we managed to end up talking about Damage Control. How great was Eddie Guerrero? Like, really? When you
I mean, this is body of work wise, just so many eras, so much good work. From being a cruiserweight champion in WCW to ending up being the WWF champion. So many great eras of work, a lot of good tag team work too, a lot of good faction work with the LWO, a lot of just, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that changed the business? Like, everybody still works like him. People didn't work like him when, back when he started and back in the 90s, people didn't work like that. He worked a fast-paced, like, well-run match that also looked real and had that, had that realism, had that, like, I lie, I cheat, I steal. That kind of, like,
How great was that once, like, we moved into that era of Eddie Guerrero, with Mamacita and some of the best character work of Eddie's career.
You believed every bit of that. It was all so believable. He was like, and just all of his tricks and all the stuff that you had never seen before.
And people still do it today.
Existed for 100 years. You had never seen any of that, and people still do it. You're right, and it's still fresh to this day. The spot where he smacks the chair on the ground, tosses the chair to his opponent, and lays down, to this day is like, when it's pulled off correctly, it's still like, oh my God.
Yeah, it pops me every time it's done.
Every time,
every single time.
It's undeniable.
And, like, his body of work throughout his career is what led to him beating Brock Lesnar, being so believable. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at that as an outsider, and it's like, there's no way that dude's beating that dude, But we knew how hard Eddie Guerrero worked, and we knew that he was going to win. He was scrappy.
Yeah, there was no doubt in my mind going into that.
Took it to Brock Lesnar.
No doubt in my mind.
Took it to Brock Lesnar. Then he carried that belt right there.
Took it from Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that's right.
Brock lit him up. And
it was a fun match. R.I.P. Eddie,
R.I.P. Eddie. 18 years gone way too soon.
Well, I think I'm missing a couple of things, but we're going to go ahead. We're going to get right down to the brass tacks here, sir.
Mr. McMahon.
Mr. McMahon is selling $8.4 million worth of his newly acquired TKO stock.
I mean, I don't know, man. So I feel two ways about it, okay?
I know how I feel about it. I'm interested to see how you feel about it.
So I feel two ways about it. One, part of me sees old man Vince McMahon with the cane walking around there, with the Undertaker just by his side, like, holding him up and keeping him, and I'm like, shit, is Vince finally old? Did it finally happen? And maybe this is just padding of like, you know what? I'm fucking buying a stellar property in Florida, and I'm just gonna hang out and not do much. I might pop into the performance center and be an old man every now and then. But this is maybe retirement Vince McMahon, because he's looking haggard. That's the only way to put it.
He doesn't look good.
Looking haggard. And I know he just had spinal surgery, so like, but still, I mean, the man's pushing 80, right? What is he, 77, 78?
Yeah, I think he's 77.
Like, I mean, the man's pushing 80. Let's be fair. He's no spring chicken by any stretch of anybody's imagination. That being said, it's either that or he's super butthurt about being told no. Because nobody's told the man no in almost 80 years. So he's super butthurt about being told no, because his famous Vince McMahon Jedi mind
78.
trick, 78. Okay. His famous Vince McMahon Jedi mind trick didn't work on the new CEOs of Endeavor. And he just thought he was going to get in there and run roughshod, just like he has on everybody his whole life. Like, nobody's ever been like, no, Mr. McMahon. And finally they were like, you know what, Vince? You go home. We got this. Paul's got this. And I just think that he's just like, you know what? Fuck these people. And he sold his shares, and he's going to go and, I don't know, bang whores or something. I don't know what he's going to do.
So I made a mistake in my presentation of this. He sold 8.4 million of his shares for a grand total of $713 million.
That's almost $1 billion. That's a lot of money.
And I think that it was like 30% of his remaining shares, and
that makes him not. I mean, I don't know that he was the majority shareholder.
He wasn't the majority shareholder anymore.
But that makes him certainly not a top shareholder either. Now
he is not.
But still, good Lord, so much fun. I like the Xia Li's back and getting a little pushy push here.
Yeah, I think they're doing some really good things with the women's division right now.
Head off. Poor Indy Hartwell. Oh shit. Nope. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. What's your opinion on this? What do you think? Is Vince about to like start his own wrestling promotion again, or what?
No, I don't think it's that. But no, I don't think so either. I think that the thing is that he's not used to getting a paycheck every week, and he's panicking a little bit because his lifestyle clearly hasn't changed. No. So I'm assuming that maybe that's probably got a lot to do with it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that when high level money people like a Vince McMahon and sees that they're not making the kind of money that they're accustomed to making, they need to see that number.
The bank account needs to be at a certain level.
Yeah.
For comfort.
Yeah. So to me, I think that's what this is. And I mean, he's obviously been told no, and he was probably very much like, well, fuck it. 78 years old. They got me. They got me out. They got their wish. I'm fucking done. I'll just be their little puppet and show up to fucking Saudi Arabia with my cane and having the Undertaker hold me up every once in a while. And I just continue to just collect my check every week, but I'm going to sell some shares until I die.
I mean, to be fair, the man, his mother lived to be what, 102?
Yeah, I think 102.
Like, I mean, the man's probably going to be around another 20 years. Like, let's be fair. I mean, he's got, I don't know that he's going to be like a public figure for 20 more years, but he's going to be around another 20 years. Like, we're going to be fucking 60 when this guy gets down. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's weird to see him in a weakened state, because our whole lives he's been this just like massive care. Even when he was a commentator, like, you could tell that he was clearly in charge of commentating.
Yeah.
And
it's really funny to sit here. Like I've got Vince because I Googled him so I could get you the age, right? And I'm looking at the images now, and it's very much Vince then, now, forever.
The big poof top.
That's funny to me, but I don't know, man. Like I do. I think that he's probably just come to the conclusion, the realization that his time is done with the company that he helped build, and it's time for him to sit back and enjoy the fruits of his labor. So I agree with you. I do feel that it's a quasi retirement without being a retirement. But I think it's also a little bit of what I said, that gotta see that number in the bank, pub.
I mean, I didn't think about it in that regard, but as somebody who has a similar anxiety to that, I could see how somebody like Vince McMahon would also have that kind of anxiety. So I get you. I get it.
But I don't know. I don't think that him selling out his stakes or his shares, whatever, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that it just kind of further distances him from the product. And not that it's time. And that's I don't want to discredit what the man's done in his body of work. But I mean, there's a lot of great things that happen. There's a lot of really bad things that happen too.
Well, I feel like, if the last couple of years have been anything, is that he's left everything in the right hands. I think, I think that his son-in-law is really the guy. And I think he's proved that. And I think he's also surrounded himself with guys who were the guy. Like Triple H was always a Vince guy. Same thing with Shawn Michaels. And Triple H has kept his friendships with all of the other Vince guys. I'm like, we just saw The Undertaker on NXT. So it's not that these Vince guys are still around. Bruce Pritchard's still there for the time being. So it's there's a level of he's left. He could. How do I want to phrase this? It's almost like, maybe we're looking at this in too negative of light necessarily. Is that he's maybe satisfied at this point.
Yeah,
that he's left the company that he built in good hands with people who have been with him for decades.
That's a great point too.
You're
absolutely
probably
right.
Some of that.
Yeah. Definitely looking at that through the wrong lens, I think, maybe, huh?
I mean, it's just, it's hard to, they hit records every time they do a new thing. They're like, oh, this is the most money they've ever made in this arena, particularly. This is the most money they've ever made. This is the most tickets they've ever sold for WrestleMania in one day.
In the meantime, we can't get family tickets to AEW because they closed the cheap seats.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's indicative of where we're at in 2023 in the wrestling world.
Not to shift exactly, but I think you're onto something here, because I would venture a guess to say that, okay, so when AEW comes to town, they do a college basketball arena. Holds much less people. It's a college.
I think it holds like 7,000.
Yeah, with that upper bowl open, so they closed that off. So there's maybe 3,500, 4,000 coming.
Yeah,
so that they've got maybe that many tickets, especially with the around the ring seating, because you don't get.
And
that.
it's against War Games.
And it's against War Games. But to make another point on top of that, so they closed off the cheap seats. WWE doesn't do that. Doesn't do stuff like that. Like, they're coming to, when they come back, they're coming to PPG paints. They're coming to PPG, and they're not going to be like, you can't get those $15 tickets or $18 tickets. We want to take the kids to that. We can do that. Now we're going to sit fucking, in the rafters. I mean, and the wrestlers will be this big, but those seats will be open and they'll be priced appropriately. And if we decide to spend $100 on 4 tickets, whatever, Great. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
And
I mean, don't get me wrong, they've absolutely closed off sections for television, but like they're not going to be too premature on it.
Well, and on top of that, they're not closing off sections for television they're not going to close off sections for television to price people out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll close off sections for television, but you'll still be able to get the cheap seats to come, because that's a lot of their bread and butter too, right? Because just because we bought the cheap seats, but we brought the kids, you know, we're going to buy t-shirts,
Yep.
we're going to buy belts, we're going to buy foam fingers, we're going to buy whatever.
They're going to have to eat. They're going to want a snack.
They're going to want snacks. We're going to have to eat. And what AEW is really doing, and they sort of do this with the television product too, and this is a big, is they've really, like, I'm kind of concerned. I mean, my kids are older than yours, but there's a lot of like lewd stuff that happens in AEW. I mean, I'm not worried about them seeing blood from the top of the rafters necessarily, but there's language, there's, you know, innuendo and stuff like that, you know, stuff that happened during the Attitude Era, of course, but times are different now. And, like, you know, do I have any qualms with bringing my kids to a WWE show thinking they're going to see something I don't want them to see? Absolutely not. Am I concerned about an AEW, them seeing things I don't necessarily want them to see? Not that I think they're going to be traumatized by it or anything like that, but, like, yeah, there's probably stuff that's going to happen that I'm going to be like, God, I wish they would have done that while we were here. You know, just have that kind of thought. So, you know, it's really like the kind of you're looking at the difference in two products here. And, you know, for AEW, it stinks because I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the older audience in. They're trying to get the old wrestling fans and all that jazz. But at the same time, it's like WWE is just not doing that.
And I think that's a really good point. You know, between the two of them, from the standpoint of the ticket sales and whatnot, right? We very much have this situation where WWE tends to lean a little bit more family friendly, and what you're saying, Tom, is that the ability to be able to take the kids to the show is a big deal, and you know, that AEW maybe in an effort to make sure that their television looks correct from the standpoint of things, they don't allow the opportunity for the family to come to the show.
They've priced us out.
Yeah.
Is what they've done. They've priced us out. I mean, it's a $500 night now if we want to take the family, and that's just that's not feasible. And you know, at WWE, it's like, you know, if we want to sit up in the rafters, it's $100 night. You know, and AEW is not a 5 times better show. I don't care if my tickets are better. It's not a 5 times better show to take the family to. Right. You know, and I think that's really where there's some contradiction there, and that they can't, you know, and you know, times are tough, yada yada, whatever. If you want to grow that, maybe you just gotta eat it and not just assume that you're gonna be successful. You know, maybe you just gotta take it on the chin, and they're not doing that. They're not willing to do that, and at the same time, they're also not growing. They've been stuck at that just under 1 million mark now for 2-3 years.
Yep. I mean, it's not that very rarely have they broken through that ceiling,
and especially recently. It's been very static.
You know, and I mean, and then Collision obviously is not getting the attention that it should, because I think that it's at a bad time, you know, for the type of fan that they're targeting. I
mean, it started with momentum, and then, you know, they put their cards in the wrong basket.
Hey, that's okay. It's gonna get better because Phil's coming back as the devil. Okay.
I mean, maybe
Phil's the devil.
I don't think he's not the devil. I love that Phil's like, he's either going to show up at Survivor Series, or because of the one tweet, or he's the devil because of some other tweets. And I think he's probably,
I mean, even this tweet could suggest mending fences with the Bucks.
That's true. It's a good point. I think he's neither.
Yeah, there's no fucking way.
I think it's neither, actually. I don't think we see Phil ever.
But like, I love the fact that he's playing into it. I mean, giving all the basement marks fucking little.
Wouldn't you? Especially like he doesn't have to say anything. He could just he could post random bullshit, and it's like, what's this mean about this?
Could you imagine he goes out and he has like a bacon cheeseburger for lunch, and then he tweets out the picture of the Friends Forever, the Friends Forever meme, the cow and the pig, but it doesn't. It's just that picture. Yeah. And everybody would be like, "Oh my god, CM Punk and Triple H, they talked."
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's not what that means at all.
No.
I ate a cheeseburger. That's what that means. I had a cheeseburger. It was delicious. Wanted to post about it in meme form.
But I do love that he's leaning into it. It's probably the most entertaining thing he's done all year.
Wait, when did he get fired?
A couple months ago.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, you're right. He didn't do really anything entertaining after he came back.
So I mean, but I do enjoy that. And then now the new thing on the internet is to this, but it's that WWE's really driving John Cena underneath with all these losses so that they can have the greatest comeback story of all time to win number 17.
Wait, was that today?
Yeah, I just saw it. I saw it today whenever I was pooping.
John Cena's not coming back to win number 17. John Cena is on his run out and just wants to do right by the company. There is no he's just so grateful to everybody and so happy that he just said it the other day. He was like, I got to go by my own name for so long. They finally had to attach a moniker to it. Now I'm the GOAT. I don't think that's true. I didn't put that on me. They did it. But you know what? I really have a deep respect for John Cena. I really like him as an actor. If I'm saying I can't wait for the next season of Peacemaker. Peacemaker is going to be one of the next characters in Mortal Kombat. I'm so excited for it. Can't wait to main Peacemaker. Even if he sucks balls and is slow as shit. Can't wait to main Peacemaker. I generally play faster characters in Mortal Kombat, but I can't wait to just decide to be a slow, methodical, ranged character like Peacemaker. It's gonna be so fun. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. Love John Cena. I think that he's on his way out. He's one of those guys that we all have to look back now, but man, we were so wrong. John Cena, we were like, he's the turned heel. No, he never should have turned heel.
No, man, he definitely did his thing.
We were all so wrong. He did it the right way. He was right every time. We were wrong.
It's been fun. Although
Taiwan's a real country, John.
What? Did I miss something?
What?
Tom, what's your match of the week, pal?
There was wrestling? Oh, no. Okay, so my match of the week actually was Mr. Samoa Joe versus Mr. Keith Lee. Number one, Samoa Joe's been on fire since they just let him wrestle on AEW. He's been great because he's great and he can get himself over, and he's Samoa Joe. So loved it. Also, it seems to be a little resurgence for Keith Lee, although he did lose, but it was a great match. They got time. I love two big men who just know what they're doing, just fucking throwing each other around. It was a good big man match.
Always sounds so goddamn homoerotic whenever you say
whatever. I don't care. Look, I am comfortable in my masculinity. I love to watch two big sweaty men slapping big sweaty man meat. I don't even care. It's great every time, and I have fun with it every time. So you know who doesn't care? I don't care. Okay, that's fine. I'm very comfortable in my own masculinity, and I would watch that match. I did watch it twice actually because it was on YouTube, and I watched it again. So anyway,
fucking told
do that. So that's my match of the week because they catered to me. Look, I feel like whenever any wrestling promotion panders to me, and they clearly were pandering to me, I just have to make it my match of the week. So I felt pandered to. I liked it. I watched the whole show front to back because they pandered it to me, and so kudos to them. Do that more. I'll keep watching. So yeah, that's my match of the week.
My match of the week was LA Knight versus Grayson Waller.
Also great, fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great match. I love the fact that LA Knight came out there and and it's the first time we were going to hear from him after losing to Roman, and he just seized the fucking moment. And I thought he did a really good job with his promo. I thought the match was phenomenal. Just to see those guys kind of just do their thing, I really, really enjoyed it. LA Knight gets the win. Crowd pops. Everybody's happy.
Grayson Waller's coming to his own too.
Yeah, he really is. I think in Austin Theory and him is a good pairing, and like they're kind of doing the tag team thing, doing the singles thing. Like
Austin Theory needed a buddy, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
A couple of fucking frat boys.
It's been great. They've really played off each other well. And I thought that the little build to this through the show was good too, because it was a little bit cold going into it, but the little build was good.
And then Kevin Owens on commentary on SmackDown was fucking gold.
I'm like, so part of me is concerned because I love Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens matches. Part of me is concerned, and if Vince was still there, this would happen. Part of me is concerned that they're gonna stick Kevin Owens on commentary full time. Yeah,
that was something that like when that came out, I was like, oh, why are they doing that? Don't do that. Don't Jerry the King Lawler. Maybe that's something he's looking to do because
he would be fantastic at it. Yeah, when he's done wrestling, like if that's what he wants to do next, I'm all for it. Like just that's good.
Yeah, I'm into it. Especially he adds a little bit of levity to things. You know what I'm saying? And like
he's fucking hilarious.
The Telestrator shit was phenomenal.
He's hilarious, and he's such a good wrestler that like his play-by-play. If he really just wants to start breaking stuff down. He can sort of play a funnier Taz type of role where like they usually just let Taz throw in offhand comments here and there, but sometimes they're like, Taz, what just happened here? And he's like, okay, well, he did this and this and this, and then he couldn't get out of this, and he put his knee here, which made it. And it's like, I love that kind of stuff from Taz. I really think that like Taz has not really lost a beat. I feel like
he lends credibility to that commentary team.
Yeah. Tony Schiavone tries to stab credibility in the back every second he gets.
See, listen, I'm gonna tell you what, I didn't mind him on Collision this past week.
Okay, like he puts in a good show every now and then, but he did a
nice job on Saturday, man.
But Tony Schiavone oftentimes sounds like he's just like, guys, isn't it just great to be here? I'm so happy to be here. Like, all right, Tony, thanks. Huge.
Like, fucking hater.
Fuck off.
Goddamn hater. I can't.
It's so great to be here, guys.
Yeah, you're a goddamn hater. Your Tony Schiavone hate is on the same level as Derek's Mauro Ranallo hate.
Mauro Ranallo is a goddamn saint. Derek is a fucking mutant for not liking him.
Just saying, pal. Like, you sound exactly the same whenever it comes to Tony Schiavone.
Like, Tony Schiavone sucked and Mauro Ranallo was fantastic. It's their difference. There's a huge difference. Tony Schiavone
is just not going to let you do this.
Look, non-goatee Tony Schiavone was great. Goatee Tony Schiavone is just happy to be here, guys.
Hey, listen, and he's got tattoos now.
Okay. Glad to get a paycheck, Excalibur. Whatever you say.
Why are you such a hater? I'm just not going to let you do this. It's just not going to happen.
Whatever. Excalibur sucks. Tony Schiavone sucks.
I mean, Excalibur's fucking just the worst. He's just the worst.
Taz, you're right. Taz lends credibility. JR lended credibility till he was like, you know what? I take some more time off. It's like, JR, I know you're old and you keep putting pictures of your feet on the internet and it just makes me want to throw it. Like, you got to fucking censor them shits. Buddy.
I mean, listen, I got to imagine.
Not safe for work because I don't want to throw up on my keyboard.
I've got to imagine that there's a market for that, those kind of foot pics out there, right?
Oh my, but not unfiltered, like market not safe for work. You want to look at his feet because that's your thing.
Mean, there might be some weirdos that are into that kind
of thing. That's fine.
Though.
They can click that and knock off the filter. I, however, can scroll right past and be like, nope.
Not today, Satan.
Not today, Satan. Because every time it happens, it fucking ruins my day. I got to be honest. It ruins my day.
You know how I know that it ruins your day? Because every time it happens, you say in the group me, I really wish JR would stop posting his feet on Twitter.
It's so fucking gross, man. Every time. It's the most disgusting thing I've seen. It's honestly, since he started doing it, it's been the most disgusting thing I've seen. I've not seen something more disgusting since it started happening. I've not.
Well, and that's why he's taking time off, pal, because he's trying to get right.
I hope he does. And look, I want the guy to be so goddamn healthy, but I also don't want his proctologist to take shots when they're looking for polyps. You know what I mean?
Podiatrist.
No. Well, I was talking about his butthole, but yeah, his podiatrist either. I don't want anybody taking pictures of either his foot or his butthole, because to me, those are like, that's the same level.
Is it though?
I mean, I haven't seen his butthole
on creepy guy internet. It's definitely the same thing, because I mean, people are paying the same money for feet pics as they are for somebody's buttholes on OnlyFans. I mean,
have we really gone here?
I mean, it is what it is, bud. I mean, so sometimes shit happens, you know. Like I
wish it would stop happening in front of my eyes. You know? That's how I feel about it. I wish it could happen. Just tell me in words, not in pictures.
Hey.
I thought smartphones were great until that started happening. Now I'm like, you know what? We've gone too far.
You know what? Can I just get the little Nokia flip phones? You know?
Yes, it can't load them shits. Oh God. Or it loads them in like
6. What was it, like 16-bit? Those little screens were like 16-bit.
Just this little and we paid money for them shits.
Yeah.
That made. Well,
Snake
Snake
was the greatest cell phone game of all time.
I mean, it still is. It's still better than whatever. I don't play games on my cell phone, but I assume Snake's still better.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Hey, if you're still hanging out with us, man, you hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate it. Even maybe consider subscribing if you're new. Check us out over on Twitter. I'm sorry. Fuck. See, I just did it, Tom. I did.
Twix.
Twix now. Check us out over on Twix and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. You know, the other day we had a bucket of one of the folks' Halloween candies, kids' Halloween candy came in, and I'm a sucker for some Twix, right? So I noticed that on the Halloween candy they said left Twix and right Twix.
Yeah.
So I had this little girl convinced that they tasted different. Convinced that they tasted different.
This is why we're friends, because I've done that to my kids.
Because I was like, "Ooh, Twix," and
if I had the opportunity to do it to somebody's child in public, hell, to somebody as an adult in public, I would have also taken it. But anyway, I'm sorry. Tell your story.
So I'm like, "Ooh, Twix," and I looked down. She was like, "Oh yeah, they're real good. I never had them before." And I was like, "Oh, you have a right Twix." I said, "The left ones are so much better." She was like, "They're not." I said, "No, the left ones are so much better." She was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." And I started like digging through the bowl and I started pulling out all the left Twix, right? And then I found like 10 of them. And I was like, I got what I want. And I just kind of scooped them up. She's like, and I could hear her digging through the bowl as I was walking away. And she's like, "There's none in here. You took them all." And I went, "Oh, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of right ones in there." She goes, "Yeah, but I wanted to try a left one." And I said, "Sorry," turned around and walked away. So she comes and she finds me like 15 minutes later. She's like, "I found one." And meanwhile, they're just sitting on my desk, right? Like I'm doing paperwork or whatever. This pile of fucking left Twix is sitting on my desk. And she's like, "I found one. You're right. They do taste different." I said, "Now you're just fucking with me." She was like, "Yeah, you're a dick. You've made me believe that they tasted different. I can't believe
a little girl didn't call you a dick."
Yeah. You know, you get it though.
I get it. But no, that's hilarious. I really like that, actually, because I'd have done that. In fact, I try that with my kids, and then Damien, like, my son is Mr. Contrary. Be like, "You're wrong. Look, here's right. Here's the left. That's the same candy. You're wrong, Dad. And like wouldn't break eye contact. Like it's funny every time. It's funny every time. But Evie, so poor little girl. She's so gullible. I could tell her anything. One time I told her, Evie, if you don't wash your hands after you go to the bathroom, you're gonna get diphtheria. She's like, what's that? I said, that's when you throw up till your eyes bleed. Cried to my mother. Because she thought she forgot to wash her hands after she peed. My eyes are gonna bleed.
What a dick.
My mom was so mad. She called me at work.
What a dick.
She was so mad. What did you tell this little girl? What? I told her lots of things. What do you mean?
What a dick.
My eyes are gonna bleed. I died laughing. My mom is so mad. And you've seen my mom mad. So mad.
What a dick. I can't believe you did that to your daughter. All right, let's get out of here, pal.
All right.
Hey, we appreciate you hanging out with us. We really do. Like I said, hit that like button. Tell your friends, if they're into wrestling and whatnot. We're here every Monday. Usually sometimes there's 3 of us.
I hope he's not dead. I actually I said that out loud and I was like, fuck, what if he is? I hope he's not.
No, I don't think he is. I think he's just adjusting to a proper dad life here. Maybe he'll get it figured out. It's only been fucking
real hard having a newborn. It's real goddamn hard. I don't envy him at all. 0%.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So
we can go back to that.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast. You really don't think John Cena could win number 17?